Welcome to LOA Today. Walt and Alyx King here. Today is Wednesday, March the 27th, 2019. It is 8 a.m. in New York. It's 5 a.m. in Los Angeles. It's 12 noon in London. Sydney, Australia, you're at about 11 p.m. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And Alyx and I have been talking for some time about doing the show with just the two of us. Somehow I've always had her hooked in with a third co-host, but she convinced me that just the two of us are all we need. So okay, we're going to do it with just the two of us. As I think I mentioned last week, Kelly Pretty said she had other things she needed to do, so that's what kind of was the impetus behind this. But hey, that's
hmm
okay. And Alyx has promised me. She promised me before we started doing the podcast, she will always make me laugh. So I'm going to hold it to her.
That is never a problem.
Never a problem. Oh, good, good, good. Okay. And on those occasions where you're not able to make me laugh, I'll make you laugh. So we'll cover it one way or another. Okay.
All right. So it's
Okay.
covered.
That's fair. That's a fair deal. And now we hadn't really talked before the show about what we want to talk about during the show.
hmm
Yesterday afternoon, we kind of talked about, well, do we want to do something with the fiction podcast we're doing, or do we want to just do a regular thing? So I don't really know. I hadn't really thought about it myself. Have you? Have you given it any consideration one way or another?
Yes, I have. I think we should do a regular podcast, a regular
Regular show.
Q&A, but I
Okay.
think we should focus on mental health today.
Mental health. Oh, you did say something about
I
mental health.
did.
Yes, you
hmm
did. You did. Okay. So, all right, mental health it is. That's the topic for the day. And if anyone is listening to the live stream, and I actually see a couple of people filtering in, feel free to contribute to the conversation on mental health. Um, and definitely left a note. Have written a personal message. Oh, okay. Well, we'll look for that. And I don't see a PM coming through, but when it comes through, I'll definitely read that. So, mental health. What made you think about what mental health? I mean, did that have to do with what Bill G was trying to help with yesterday, with with the insomnia issue, or is it something beyond that? What made you think of
No,
mental health?
it's just a theme that's been I notice has been coming around a lot lately in my life. Like it's a subject that's been coming up more and more. So with, other family members and it with myself, obviously, because, I go through it. And just different friends are going through things. So I decided, you know what, it's needs to be talked about today.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm glad that you decided to talk about mental health instead of mental illness, because that's what a lot of people would go to. You went to the positive side, so that
Yes.
was a good thing. You,
Yes.
you got the show off to a good start. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, mental health. Well, it's a wide-ranging topic. Lots of areas we can
Mm-hmm.
go with it. Um, I mean, we can go humorous, we can go serious, we can go really deadly serious because there are a lot of people who have some pretty serious mental issues going on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, how in depth do you want to go? I mean, you tell. It's your topic. Where do you want to go with it? Tell me.
Let's go down the rabbit hole. Let's dig as far as we can dig.
Okay. So let's see. Well, is there a particular one? You said that some of this is drawn from your own experience with your own family and stuff you're going through. Is there anything particular you want to bring up that has been, a recent issue, something like that? We can kind of tear it apart and figure out what the law of attraction angle is and all that.
I want to start with anxiety, I think, because that's the most
Oh,
common.
okay.
And there's different degrees and different styles of anxiety, where you go from just being nervous from doing something or getting anxiety from being stressed, all the way to the extreme in my situation where you're actually housebound and agoraphobic. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, wouldn't that be stressful though? I mean, it's not like being agoraphobic doesn't have stress, right?
Only when I go out.
This is true. That is the nature of it.
When I'm home, I'm
Troubleshooting is
fine.
fair. I have this mental image of Alex and her mother or somebody going out the door, and the moment she walks out the door, it's like her eyes become bug-eyed, like, "Oh my God, I'm outside!"
Yep, yep. That's
Is
exactly
that
what
really what
happens.
happens? Is
Yeah,
it really?
yeah.
Oh, I thought I was just making it funny. That really is
No,
true.
no, it's really is true. And I start to freak out, and I'm like, I gotta calm myself down. And that's why I have my dog and my mom and my sunglasses. I have to wear sunglasses because they act as blinders. So it's like it's kind of like I'm sheltered from the world in a way. Like I don't know if
Mhm.
you ever saw the movie Big Daddy with Adam Sandler.
I haven't seen that one, but okay, tell me.
Well, he ends up adopting a kid, and the kid's really, really shy. And so Adam Sandler decides to come up with this idea where if you put sunglasses on, people can't see you, so you don't have to be as shy. You can act like yourself. So that's kind of where that idea comes from. And it works for me, in some until I run into a situation where people are like, "Oh my God, your dog's so cute. Can I pet him? Can I say hi?" They don't know the service dog rule. So it engages in conversation and I don't like to people. So, yeah.
I just think it's cool that you came up with a solution that a 2-year-old came up with. You can't see me.
Exactly. If I can't see you, you can't see me.
I love that. That's great. If it works, it works. That's all that really matters anyway. But,
Yeah.
well, of course, anytime we're talking about a mental health issue, the first thought that goes into the minds of most people, I think, is, well, there's usually something down deep. And I'm sure you've done a lot of digging. I mean, you have a
Hmm.
therapist to work with. You've dug into this stuff a lot. Have you ever found any clues? I mean, I know you haven't solved it because if you had, you wouldn't have this problem walking outside. But have you ever found any clues what's going on inside?
Um, some will say it's partially genetic because my father is bipolar, but I'm not bipolar, so but there is mental health issues there. So that
Sure.
genetics plays a part. Um, I'm also autistic but there's no one else in my family that's autistic. So I don't know.
Okay, so basically we have little to no data. Well,
Right. Yeah.
that
All
that
my
means
doctors will tell you I'm a very tough case. They haven't figured it out yet.
well, according to Bill yesterday, you had something really, really deep going on, some sort of an evil spirit thing buried deep into your psyche or something like that.
Maybe that's what it is.
We'll have to get the witch finder general to pull it out. Like, okay, you evil spirit, come out of there where you are hiding in those deep dark shadows.
Witchfinder General.
Isn't that what they're called anymore? I don't know.
I don't know.
But
Oh man.
uh, you got me thinking about that. I mean, I just kind of whipped that one out. It didn't even occur to me what I had said. It's like, yeah, that's pretty silly.
That's good old Walt. Doesn't really think about what he says. It's okay.
It's true. You never know what's coming out of my mouth. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. That's what we do, actually. Oh, hello, Shelley. Shelley's saying good morning.
Hi,
Yeah,
Shelley.
anxiety does come in a lot of different flavors, doesn't it? And
It does, yes.
that
Flavors, I like that.
I got to ask you this because this is a key point that Abraham likes to make. Everything that is going on, we focused on and somehow to bring it about. And it seems like, well, why would anyone want to focus on anxiety? Why would
Hmm.
anyone focus on, being unhappy going outside and being freaked out and so forth? Nobody would really want to
Yeah.
focus on that. But then again, nobody really wants to focus on getting sick or on, having an accident or something like that. That's not the way it tends to work anyway. So it means something else was going on in your thought process, something we may never even figure out.
Hmm.
But there was something that had like a negative spin to it, something that, had that negative vortex feel to it. And
Hmm.
it led you down, you used the word rabbit hole. That was a good word for it. It led you
Yep.
down this rabbit hole of being stuck on this
Yep.
anxiety thing that's going on.
Hmm.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, Abraham's solution is change the focus to what you want instead. I presume you have tried that, at least to some extent,
A
focusing
little
on
bit. A little
instead.
bit.
And what kinds of results have you had?
It actually it's law of attraction. So when you concentrate on not having a panic attack, you end up having a panic attack. because you're like, all right, I don't want to have a panic attack. I don't want to panic about, and then you start thinking about the things that you don't want to panic about, and then you start panicking
Mhm.
about the things that you don't want to panic about. So it's a catch 22.
It's almost like you have to find a way to express it in the positive because having a panic attack, not having a panic attack is expressing in the negative what it is that you want, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
or more precisely what you don't want, and saying I
Right.
don't want that thing that I really dislike so much.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess it's have you tried spending any time focusing on going outside and enjoying it, going outside and feeling calm, going outside
I
and all that kind of thing.
I do that when I have company over. I try to be in the moment and try not to let my anxiety affect the the good time that we're having. So if my brother comes and he wants to go take pictures at the beach, and I'm like, all right, we can do this. It's only 5 minutes down the street. We can spend 5 minutes taking pictures, and then we'll come right back. It'll be fine. And also it helps to have people in your life who you have a support system. So people that are
Mhm.
understanding. And my brother knows when I say we got to go home, we got to go home. I can't do
Yeah,
it anymore. Yeah.
right. Yeah, and that's
But
certainly important because when you're trying to to get your mind wrapped around a new way of thinking, it takes a lot of effort initially.
yeah.
After a
Mhm.
while, if you stick with it, it gets easier and easier and easier. But those first
Right.
few tries are just it's like trying to push a boulder or something. I mean, it's just this
Yeah.
massive, massive thing that you're trying to go against. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
It,
those first few baby steps are it's like actually taking baby steps. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, right. If you're lucky, you take a baby step. If you're not lucky, nothing moves. It just stays
Yeah,
right
exactly. I'm
there.
just gonna keep crawling for a while. That's what I'm gonna do.
hmm hmm Yeah. Well, even the way you express it, though, it still made me think, have you actually focused on feeling joyful outside, feeling relaxed outside?
No, not yet.
That might be worth trying, you know?
I'm writing it down.
Because if you can spend just kind of like visualizing it, I don't know what your method of visualization is that you prefer, but whatever your method is, just spend some time really focusing on enjoying being outside, feeling relaxed outside, feeling good outside, and then building the emotion associated with that, and see what happens. I mean, the worst that happens is you go out outside and you say, "Nope, not happening. I'm going back indoors."
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe it'll help you. Maybe you can sustain yourself outside for a longer period of time doing something like that. Or
Yeah,
who
that's
knows what
what
the benefit is.
my therapist and I are working on is again with the baby steps is okay, go out to your mailbox and come back and go down to the end of your walkway and come back and
hmm
go to the corner of your street and come back and take baby steps like that and then like okay. Not too excited about it, but
I
got to
can
do
tell. Yeah, you're just like, oh yeah, here we go. I'm ready. I can just see this all over your face.
it.
But this might be a good time to do the pre-paving. He wants you to go out, or is it he or she?
Well, I'm in between right now, but the last one was a she.
Oh. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll go with she for now. So
Yeah.
she wants you to go down to the mailbox, right? So
Yeah.
when you go to before you even go to the mailbox, spend the time going through the process. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm going to go out to the mailbox, and when I go out, it's going to be, beautiful weather, and I'm going to feel good. I'm going to feel so relaxed. What does it feel like to feel relaxed? Feel that relaxation inside,
Hmm.
and try feeling, what's the good feeling of being outside? Can you remember that good feeling of being outside, or has it been so long that it's just hard to remember it?
It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, maybe you kind of create a bridge to it because
Yeah.
you already know that you feel good inside. So work
Hmm.
on, okay, how do I feel when I'm inside?
Hmm.
Get to that good feeling place, and which shouldn't be hard because you're inside when you're doing this.
Right. Right.
So you get into that good feeling place and then say to yourself, this is the way I feel outside. Once you've built the feeling up,
Hmm.
so you can actually feel it inside. And as
Hmm.
you're feeling it, say, this is the way I feel outside. So
Yeah.
this is the way I'm going to feel. And just keep building that up. That's what I did with my knees last
Hmm.
year. Remember, I had my injured ligaments last year.
Right, right.
And that's literally what I did. I found a position where one of the knees could be relaxed enough that it wasn't hurting, and
Hmm.
then said to myself, this is the way that knee always feels. And
Yeah.
as for the knee that's hurting right now, this is the way that other knee feels also, which took
Hmm.
some effort,
Yeah.
because I mean the other knee was definitely still hurting,
Hmm.
so I had to really, really focus to do this, but I was able to get it there for a split second even. And even a split second's improvement. That's a baby step.
That's a baby step. Yep.
Yeah. So try that. See what that does. Maybe that actually will, if you can pre-pave it, because that's something Abraham goes on and on about. Abraham Hicks waxes eloquent about the value of pre-paving, or as they call it, segment intending, where you just get yourself into that good feeling place before you try to do whatever the task is. And
Hmm.
in so doing, you make that task more interesting, more enjoyable, easier to do, just because you pre-paved it. In fact, maybe do it after a podcast where you're feeling really, happy. You know how we feel good after a podcast? Take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pre-paving is a good way to do it. Shelley made a suggestion. She says, find a focus outside. Look for as many birds or flowers as you can. It's an idea.
Yeah, I tried to do that. I'm very good with, especially when we have to go over the bridge, because I live on the Cape. So over the
All right.
bridge is a big thing for me because I hate bridges, I hate heights, and I hate being outside. So all of those things come into play when I have to leave the Cape. But I've become really good at the license plate game,
Mm-hmm.
and but I play it in my own way. So it's more of, okay, who can find the furthest state away from us
Oh,
first? Yeah. And I know thanks to Asperger's, I have all the state license plates memorized. So just
plates
by the color,
themselves? Whoa,
yes, just because of the colors, I already know what state it is without reading what it is.
very cool. I can
So
sometimes do that, but I get confused on some. Some where the states have similar colors. It's like, wait a
yeah,
minute, Pennsylvania? What is that?
yeah,
Is that an old New York
exactly.
State plate? I don't know what that is.
Yes, they do change throughout the years. That does get confusing. So,
That's true. Yeah, yeah. You have to be on top of your license plate game in order to get that one
hmm
right.
and
Do you
I'm also
study?
I also like to read and try to figure out people's personalized license plates.
Oh yeah.
That's always fun.
It's funny. Over the years, the personalized plates have gotten fairly straightforward. They're pretty easy to read. But my favorite one was one that was really hard to understand.
Hmm.
It was actually the very first one I ever saw. I'd never heard of a vanity plate before.
Uh-huh.
And I saw it, this is like, I don't know, 40 years ago, something like that. But I
Hmm.
saw the vanity plate and I realized it was not a normal plate because it didn't have the normal pattern, like, three letters, three numbers, that kind of thing. It
Yeah.
had this weird combination of letters and numbers. I was saying, what the heck is that? And I puzzled it out and I puzzled it out, and finally it hit me like, oh my God, that's what that means. It was, you want to try to figure it out?
Okay, yeah, tell me. Let me hold on. Let me write it down and then I'll self figure it
Okay.
out.
Okay, it's one
Hmm.
zero,
Hmm.
N is in Nancy.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, I got it right. Gotta get right. No, I'm sorry. 10S as in Samuel. Got it wrong.
Okay.
10
Okay.
S as in Samuel. N is in Nancy. E is in Edward. And the number one. So 10SNE1. Did you get that one?
Hmm.
It's a real stumper. This is what happened when I first saw it. It's like, what on earth is that? What does it
I
mean?
th I
Why?
think the last part is anyone.
It is.
I don't see anyone.
Mm, not quite. Instead of saying 10, make it a combined number. What's the number? What's 10? Say that number.
10S
Say it
10
faster.
10S anyone? Oh, tennis anyone. I
Isn't
love
that
it.
great?
Yeah, and see the joy you get from figuring it out. That's the goal
Exactly.
I look for. Yeah.
Exactly. I
Oh.
remember, I'll never forget that was the first vanity plate I ever saw, and I must have puzzled on that one for 20 minutes trying to figure out what on earth is
Yeah,
that all
it makes your ride go faster when you're sitting there trying to
It
figure out
does,
what
yes.
does that mean?
And then it finally occurred to me, I almost, drove off the road. I was just so knocked over by it. Oh, that was fun.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh,
Tennis, anyone?
okay. So license plate games. Okay, you like that. That's a good way to focus on what you want instead of on what you don't want.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite get you into the mood for enjoying the outdoors, but at least it does distract you. So that's a good
Yes,
thing.
distraction is a main thing that works for me and my anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
obviously, if you're distracted, then you aren't focusing on the thing you don't want. So
exactly. Exactly.
that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
Um, Shelley asked about focusing on birds and tree and flowers. Do you ever try to count those up or identify those or anything?
Um, no, I count dogs when I'm like riding around the town.
Hmm.
There's definitely in Hyannis, there's a lot of people walking their dogs, no matter what the temperature. So yes, I like to count up the dogs and say and the dogs riding in the cars, and I'm like, oh, puppies. So so I like to count up how many dogs I see throughout my trip.
You want to see how many of the cars have pointers with the snout sticking out the window and the tongue hanging out, flying in the wind, right?
You don't usually see that. You usually see the puppies that are actually sitting in the driver's seat and trying to drive. Yeah, they're bold.
Remind
They're
me not to spend a lot of time driving in Hyannis.
Yeah, they're bold out here. We drive with our dogs on our laps. I used to, but now my dogs have their own car seats, so I don't anymore.
Mhm. My, how times have changed. Dogs with their own car seats. I never would have thought of such a thing.
Amazon sells everything.
Apparently, yes. Well, that's why they're Amazon, you know.
Yep.
You can conceive it, and it has been in existence somewhere in the world in the last 20 years. It's available on Amazon. That's all.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. And then we're doing a lot of laughter, humor. What
You
role does humor play in what you're trying to do with your baby steps? I mean, because that's
Laughter is the best medicine. So whenever I feel down or get overwhelmed, I like to switch on the old Netflix and pick out a comedy special to, take my mind off of things for an hour and let me laugh about some things.
that's good. That's good. Now, are you able to use laughter when you're outside?
It's a little harder.
I would think.
Um, I need to feed off of something. So someone has to
Mhm.
say something and then I'll get rolling.
Yeah, that's the trick, isn't it? It's learning how to be in our uncomfortable zone as opposed to our
Yeah.
comfort zone, and be in our happy, funny mood anyway.
Yeah. I get a little snarky and I'll like start judging people that I see walking by.
Oh, like what? Give us
Like
an example.
like okay, let's say it's the middle of winter and I'll be like, "Sir, your shorts are way too short for this temperature."
Yes. More precisely, why are you wearing shorts at all in this temperature?
Yeah.
Yes. There are some people I
Yeah. Yeah.
wonder about. I
Yep.
mean, it was one of the things we saw a lot when we lived in Virginia. We
Hmm.
lived in a little town called Warrenton, and you could go to downtown Warrenton, which was about 3 blocks long, and you would see the teens hanging out by the storefronts or by the Episcopal church or whatever, and they would dress. This is like, in the middle of winter, which would in that area would be like 30 degrees, 20 degrees, something like that,
Hmm.
and they're dressed in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
you've got to be kidding me, right? I mean, is it you're trying to make yourself sick so you don't have to go to school? Is that what this is all about? I don't
Yep.
understand. Holy cow.
No, they were using law of attraction and trying to visualize summer. That's what they were doing.
Shelley says that her husband is a year-round shorts guy. Okay, well,
Oh, he's one of those.
He's your problem, not mine. I'm not dealing with that. Sorry.
No offense, but I've noticed it's mostly white people. I'm just saying.
Not for this get a disagreement out of me. I don't think I've ever seen a black person like that. So,
No, we wear pants at appropriate times.
they just don't always wear them appropriately. But other than that,
Facts. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Shelley actually has a question for you. She says, "What do you fear about going outside?"
Couple of things. Being, I don't. There's this. It's like reverse claustrophobia. So it's like I get really overwhelmed when there's not like a tight quarters around me. So if I'm not in my bubble, I don't know what to do, and I get overwhelmed. And there's that. There's also the fact that I could have a panic attack while I'm in public. I could have a seizure while I'm in public. So the fear of embarrassment is also a factor into my situation. So
But correct me if I'm wrong. If you're in the middle of a panic attack, the last thing you're thinking about is I'm so embarrassed. It's more like,
no, that's
oh my God, I'm terrified.
no, that's the last thing you're thinking, but before you go out, that's what you're thinking. You're like, "Oh my God, everyone's going
Oh,
to see me. They're going to call the ambulance. It's going to be a big to-do." Yeah, it's a lot.
it's the anticipation then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that anticipation will get you every time.
And
I
dwelling on
mean,
the anticipation.
oh, of course, yeah. Well, that's the
Yeah,
whole point, right? I
yeah.
mean, so what's the point of freaking yourself out if you don't spend a lot of time on it, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a sad thing, but
It's true though. It's true. We're
but
only
go back to
human.
the first part because you said it's the reverse of claustrophobia. It's being outside and there's just all this open space. What are
Yeah.
you afraid might happen with that open space? I mean, yes, I can tell that when you're kind of pre-paving it in the wrong way, you're pre-paving it like, oh my God, people will see and they'll call ambulances and all that kind of thing. But when
Yeah.
you're actually in the midst of it, what's the fear that I'm so afraid of this open space. What's the fear that the open space is going to do to you or whatever?
I'm overexposed.
So like being in a war zone?
I don't know. I've never been in a war zone, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, I was
Thank
kind of reaching
goodness.
for a thought, like you're exposed, so like you're going to be attacked.
No, I don't really have a fear that I'm going to be attacked because I'm pretty able to take care of myself if in the situation if that ever happened. But no, just it's just I don't know. It's an irrational fear. It
Well,
doesn't
that's
have any, yeah, it doesn't have any explanation. It doesn't have any rationalization to it. It's just it is what it is.
well, and
It's
that's
like,
what fear is. Fear is irrational, but this is a particularly interesting kind of fear because normally we can say, okay, well, I'm afraid because I'm afraid of dogs attacking and biting me. We can make it
yeah,
a little bit more specific than that, and you can't find something like that, which
nope,
is
I can't pinpoint it.
a little frustrating in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even turn the irrational fear into something rational. I mean, that's
No,
not fun.
right. At least people with claustrophobia will say, "Oh my, well, I'll probably suffocate." Yeah, that they have
Yeah,
that.
they can point to something, right?
I don't have that.
I'm trying to think who it was. There was some comedian who was identifying some silly things to be afraid of. I think one of them was rectangles. I can't remember who it was, but I mean that's pretty silly.
I'm I'm more afraid of rhombuses because they're not they're like they're doing their own thing. You know what I mean? Like they're off inside. I don't like it. No, everything's got to be even. It sets off my OCD. I don't like it.
Well, rhombus is a square that's falling over.
Right, exactly. It's like get yourself together. Be a square. Be a rectangle. Be a square. Get it together.
Yes. Definitely a case of termites getting into the walls and knocking the walls down.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, I'm not sure how much we're really helping, but I'm trying to delve into this anxiety issue a little bit here with you. Um, Anxiety implies feeling anxious. And anxiousness is it's like an anticipation of something happening. It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
anxious because that other shoe hasn't dropped, and it's going to drop any second now.
Yeah.
It- that's kind of the feeling, isn't it?
Hmm.
What would happen if that shoe actually dropped?
I think I would feel validated.
I told you that shoe was going to drop.
Exactly. Like
Didn't I
I
say
would just,
that? I was the first.
I'm always right. I'm always right. I knew it. I knew it.
I mean, that's also an interesting way to kind of go at this kind of thing, is playing it out like the worst case scenario. What's the worst case scenario?
Oh, that's
You
another
play,
issue I have. I always
what?
play out the worst case scenario.
Do you?
Yes, every situation. Like let's say we hang up and you say, "All right, I'm gonna call you back in 5 minutes," and you don't call me back until like an hour later. That whole time, I think you're dead.
Okay.
I'm like, no, Walt had to have died because he would have called me back by now. So, and now I'm thinking of all the ways you could have died. What happened? Is Louise okay? Does she need help? So did someone break in? You know what I mean? And it just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs, and yeah.
Well, you are aware, of course, that even if we die, we never stop existing. We continue to exist
Well,
anyway.
that's all fantastic in the end, you know, but I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about, do I know his address to call 911? What's the protocol here? Am I calling 911 for no reason? Is he just eating dinner? Like, what's going on?
Okay, well, apparently that approach isn't going to work too well.
Not with this one.
I'm, I'm-
I'm not in control of my subconscious at all.
well, you're not the only one, actually. I mean,
Yeah, I
you are
know.
aware. We all lack that control. Well, we're still
Yeah.
working on it.
I'm
We're
barely
trying.
control of my conscious, let me tell you.
You and about 80% of the population, maybe more. I mean, it's pretty clear. You look at some of the dysfunctionalities that are out there, and there are a lot of people who, I mean, I'm not even sure they qualify as conscious, to be perfectly honest. I mean, who in their right conscious mind would do some of the things that get done on television, right? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
That's the best you got. See, you made
Oh,
fun of me yesterday, right? You made fun of me because I don't watch much television, and you were saying, "How on earth can you possibly do that?" And my answer is really simple. Look how crazy the people are.
man. That's true. It's true.
I mean, they're just plain insane.
But it's their
And
craziness that distracts me from my own, so it's a good thing.
well, their craziness is also making them a ton of money, so there's something in it, I guess.
That's
You know?
true. That's true.
Maybe that's what we should be. Maybe that's the way to deal with anxiety. Maybe the way to deal with anxiety is to make yourself really crazy and get paid well for
If I could get paid for my anxiety, I would be a bagillionaire.
it. How big is that?
Uh, that's a lot of money. A lot of
It's a lot
money.
of zeros. More zeros than we can count.
Exactly.
And the answer to Shelley has a question, two questions
Yeah,
actually. The first one, I know the answer is yes. She says you should get a seizure support dog. You
I
already
have
have.
one. Yes.
Yep.
I have two. I have two.
You have two. That's true. That's right.
Yeah.
And she also asked what happens. What happens when you're in a big space, and which is kind of the question I was asking earlier.
I just I just get overwhelmed. Like I just feel like the space is too big. I'm so like I prefer to be in a claustrophobic situation than outside in the exposed air and everything's just so big and I don't know how to explain it. It's just a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling of being exposed and raw and but it's weird because I'm not like that in real life. Like with my emotions and stuff, not like that at all. So it's not even like a secondary. oh, you must feel like that and emotionally. I'm like, no, no, that's not how I am.
So like a really scary horror movie for you would be Attack of the Killer Petunias.
No, like, you know what would be a scary movie for me, even though it wasn't really a scary movie? Um, like the Blair Witch Project, because they were in the woods the whole time.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so no, I need shelter.
Did that movie set you off?
No,
It
it was
didn't.
stupid. It was so stupid. I hated it.
I I I tried watching it to be honest.
I
I
tried
tried
watching it
watching it
too, but
for
the
about five
shakiness
minutes.
of the camera, I didn't like it.
I think it was like 5 or 10 minutes I gave it, and nothing was happening.
Yeah, nothing happened the whole movie. It was so stupid.
This is really, what's the point? I don't get it.
And then
And
they made a second one.
there's no accounting for taste.
No, if you have the money, let's waste it. Why not?
Yeah, I don't quite get that one either. I'm not even sure how. I don't even know how I would relate to that. I mean, you said that that would be an example of what would really scare you, but by the same token, when you watched the movie, it didn't scare you. So it makes me wonder, is
Well,
that really what scare you?
the Blair Witch didn't scare me, but being outside scared would have scared me
I
because
wonder
they
if I
were
could
outside,
think
they
about
were running around in the woods the entire time, and that I wouldn't be okay in that situation. Like, forget about the whole witches hunting us thing.
So a picture, if I'm trying to picture Alex's worst horror film, it's Alex just running around in the woods.
Mhm.
That's it right there.
Mhm.
Does anything else happen?
Nothing else has to happen. I'm already scared.
Yeah, well, that doesn't stop a horror filmmaker. You know,
No, it
they don't want
doesn't.
you to be scared. They want you to be
Oh,
scared and then scared to the next level, and then on the next level, and the next level.
they could dump anything they wanted on me. Yeah, but I'm already at a heightened level of scaredness because I'm outside.
Okay, so anything beyond that would be just superfluous.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to scope out the parameters, so that's good. At
Yeah.
least I
Yeah.
got that. Oh, Shelley actually agrees with you. She says being in the woods at night is legitimately scary. LOL, bears.
Bears. And that's why I'll never go visit my friend in Alaska because there's bears. I'm all set.
Well, then I can tell you a scary story.
Oh, let's tell it.
It was when I was in my early teens. My family did a lot of traveling around the country with tents, so camping essentially.
Hmm.
And it was a way to see the country. And we got out to Yellowstone Park, stayed the night,
Hmm.
and while we were there overnight, a bear came up to our campsite and
Mm-mm.
was sniffing
Mm-mm.
around outside. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, he did. He really did.
No, I believe you. I'm just disagreeing with me being in that situation. Yeah.
So okay, we found another way to scare you outside. That's something, I guess.
Yep. A
And he didn't do
mosquito. I
anything.
mean, in that heightened sense of afraidness, a mosquito could set me off. So I was just like, mm-mm. I would hear the buzzing near my ear and be like, "No, I'm done. I'm done."
I mean, all the bear really did was he was sniffing around for the food, and finally
Well,
figured out the
that's
food was in the car, and he couldn't get into the car, so he gave up and just went off to wherever he went next.
as they
So,
do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it wasn't really much of a situation. But on the other hand, if he had really wanted to go after us, all we had between him and us was some canvas. So I mean, it wasn't much of a defense barrier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Camping
actually,
is
that's not true. That's not
camping
true.
is a scary situation for me.
We did have something else that was on our side, and this is kind of a sad, happy thing all at the same time
What?
because a bear bears have are like most animals. They have this like collective knowledge that their greatest predator is human.
Right.
So really, the last thing they want to do is come near a human
Hmm.
if they can help it, or
Yeah.
if they have to come near you, they'll come to a certain distance, and that's about it. And unless they've got their young right next to them and feeling like their young are being attacked by you, they don't
Right.
want anything to do with you.
Mhm.
So the bear was probably actually more scared than we were.
Mhm.
I take it that that doesn't really help your phobia at all, but it's something to
I mean,
keep in
I'm
mind.
I'm not afraid of bears. I just rather not interact with them.
Well, yeah, I
Rather
don't
I'd
think
rather
anybody
not
else would
find
want to
out.
either. I mean, they
Yeah.
outweigh us 5 to 1, so
I think they're adorable.
yeah. Unfortunately, there are also people who think that too, and they get themselves in trouble. Oh, he's so cute. I want to go pet him.
Yeah, I'm not that dumb.
I'm sure you aren't. It's like the people who are at the zoo and they take a selfie and fall into the pit with whatever the animal is and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on. Wake up. It's one thing to have an anxiety, it's another thing to create a new one for yourself,
Yes, yes.
which is what these people are doing. But anyway, that doesn't really help with. So, okay, back to anxiety.
Mhm.
Right. So we've eliminated a few possibilities.
Mhm.
Eliminated the possibility of identifying how you would rationalize the fear, like, oh, I'm afraid of this, or I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of
Mhm.
an open space. Okay, well, the open space is going to attack me. No, no, that doesn't work either.
Mhm.
So we don't really have a clear idea of what the fear is. That's always hard. If you can't identify what the fear is,
Exactly.
that makes it really hard to kind of uproot it, so to speak.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it makes you feel anxious. Can you describe anything else about the feeling?
I can describe my symptoms.
Okay.
So basically, my heart starts racing. You have this sense of like you're having a heart attack. It's that type of feeling. So your
Mm.
heart starts racing, your palms get sweaty, my legs start shaking.
Your microphone turns off. Your microphone's definitely caught.
No,
Oh, here we go.
I was getting a phone call. Anyways, so that's a problem when you podcast on your phone.
This is
So,
true. This is true. See, I
uh,
thought this was just a symptom of being afraid of being outdoors. It was actually just the microphone. Oh, okay. Never mind.
when the panic attacks get really bad, I can hear my heartbeat in my ears.
Oh.
And yeah, that's intense because then you're like, oh my God, what is really going on with my body? Like, is this
Mm.
serious enough to go to the hospital? Like, what is going on? And then you feel stupid going to the hospital. They're like, you just had a panic attack. Like,
Yeah.
take an Ativan and calm down.
Right. Right. Have you? Boy, this is a hard question to ask because I'm trying to turn it into the positive.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever envisioned feeling calm in a situation where you would normally have a panic attack?
I haven't, I don't think. I try to use self-talk. And so if I'm in this situation and I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. It's going to be fine. We're going to do 5 minutes. I try to say things to myself like that. And it'll work for a little while, but I have a limit.
Well, that has a reverse LOA effect going on there. Because what you're basically telling yourself is, I have to endure discomfort for the next 5 minutes, right?
Well, I'm trying to say that, it'll be fine because yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay.
That's really what's happening there. You're
Yeah,
basically
good
fueling the
point.
fire. Let's throw some gasoline onto this fear. I think you really need to just spend more time visualizing what it's like to feel calm and good
Yeah.
outside.
Hmm.
Just, like Shelley said, think about the birds and the flowers and the trees and the sky and the clouds and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And just get that into your head as a calm and enjoyable experience if you can even get there. But even if you
Hmm.
can't get to enjoyable, at least get it to calm,
Yeah.
to or climb the scale like Abraham says. I mean, if it makes you feel anxious, maybe higher up on the scale that you could say within your reach is, irritable or maybe frustrated is not quite as bad as being afraid, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then once you get to that point, you can visualize that far, then try to visualize, maybe feeling hopeful about perhaps one day feeling good outside. And
Right.
if you get to that point, maybe actually at that point climb to imagining what it's like to feel really, really good, so
Yeah.
kind of work your way up to it.
Hmm.
But I'll bet you if you spend more time on that, I'll bet you that'll give you a way to kind of break the pattern because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you got a pattern built up, then you're not shaking the pattern.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have a sneaking suspicion the same thing is going on with your insomnia. They may even be
Mm.
related, I don't know. But you have a pattern built up. And so you're
Mhm.
so used to that pattern that you can kind of tell yourself, I want to go to sleep now, but the pattern is there, and the pattern's saying, yeah, I'm not going to sleep, not happening.
Yep. I've definitely caught myself on many a night saying, "All right, it's past a certain time. Yep, I'm not sleeping tonight."
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, which means that once again you're reinforcing the thing that you don't want.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like that's where you got to go. You got to spend more time on what it is that you want.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I mean, don't get me
It's
wrong, because
right.
you have this old, long-standing pattern established,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's ingrained, it's subconscious, it's habitual. You've anchored it in about 25,000 ways. I mean, you got it nailed.
Yep.
So it's going to take a little bit to turn that around, but you can do it. You can do it. Just do
Yeah.
it a little bit at a time. Like, I'm going to spend 5 minutes. Do you meditate? Is meditation part of your daily practice?
No, I can't focus.
Not meditating. Okay, so it's not meditating. What practices do you have? What
What
do you do
practices
daily
do I?
to help yourself get into a good place?
I dance.
Okay.
I turn on my Spotify playlist, and I like to boogie for at least 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, that's a good way to do it then. So when you're
Mhm.
boogieing, while you're doing that, because you're feeling good when you're doing that,
Mhm.
right? I mean, that's the whole
Mhm.
point. So while you're feeling good, while you're doing it, while you're in the midst of boogieing around, imagine you're boogieing around outside and that it still feels good.
Mhm.
And play with that. Play with that in your
Yeah.
mind. Maybe put on the sunglasses so you're blocking out the inside, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can focus on, okay, I'm doing this outside and I'm feeling really, really good. And you just
Mhm.
keep doing it and you're building up that really, really, really good feeling. And you just keep going and going and going. You're building it up and building it up and building it up and building it up. And then go to the mailbox and see what happens.
And then go to the mailbox.
Yeah. Or maybe not even the mailbox, just step outside and see what happens. You don't have to go very
Yeah.
far. Probably no one
Yeah.
is doing it,
Mhm.
but just, see what happens. See if it actually reduces the fear. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to eliminate it, it just has to reduce it. If it reduces it, then you know you're on the right track. Because I have a feeling that's really what you need to do. You just need to reprogram,
Oh, that's a good one.
right? I mean,
Reprogram.
your subconscious mind has done a wonderful job of learning this other program.
Facts.
I mean, it's really good at it.
Mhm.
You're probably better at it than anybody I know.
Well, that's saying something.
Well, it does say something because what it really says is you're really good at programming.
Mhm.
It's like somebody who had, I can't remember who I had this conversation with. I had a similar conversation with somebody, and they had gotten this one negative behavior pattern down pat to the point where literally every time they tried to focus on the opposite, they were snapping right back to this bad behavior pattern.
Mhm.
And it was like the perfect batting average, They were batting 1,000 going the wrong way. Well, just the fact that you're batting 1,000 shows, my God, you were saying you have trouble focusing? I
Mhm.
disagree. You are really good at focusing. You're just focusing on the wrong thing. Your
Yeah.
focusing skill is off the chart. I mean, you're right on it. You just got to believe that you really do have that ability because you do. I mean, it's evident. It's so obviously clear that you do have that ability to focus. You're just focusing on the wrong thing. You got to
Yeah.
believe in your ability to focus more than anything else.
Mhm.
Because it's not
Mhm.
like you lack the ability. You got the ability. You just got to believe it.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So that's where, yeah, I just start with like the basic visualization stuff. Tie it in with your
Mhm.
booking because that's a
Mhm.
good daily process to have. Just
Yep.
do that every single day. Um, and the other thing I would do if I were you is I would try to find other processes. Just try a bunch of them.
Mhm.
Processes you've heard about. If you have a copy of the Abraham book, Asking is Given, they got like 22 of them in the back that you can just try one at a time and see which one you like. Um,
Okay.
listen to the podcast that Steve Rawl and I did yesterday morning about microshifting,
Mhm.
and try practicing some microshifting. But I mean, there's lots of them you can do. I do the mirror exercises every day; those are really good for me. Um, meditation. I had trouble with meditation too, although I've gotten a little bit better at it.
Yeah.
Um, but you just do as many of them as you can every day, as you
Mhm.
can kind of remember to do. And when you even if you're only doing them for like 10 seconds, fine. Okay, you only got 10 seconds in. You got your 10 seconds in for the day. Now do it again tomorrow.
Right.
And do 12 seconds tomorrow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like just do a little bit better every day and just keep it's the repetition. It's repeated behavior that you're looking for.
Yes.
Because that repetition of focusing on the stuff that you really want, even if it's like little tiny amounts that you're doing, just by establishing that habit, you are now using your focus to point where you really want to go.
Mhm.
And do that. If you stick with that kind of approach for like a 30-day program or something, I
Mhm.
think there's some results that are going to blow your psychiatrist's socks off. I think you'll surprise yourself at what you end up doing.
Yeah.
And it won't happen right away necessarily.
You were
I mean,
right.
when I did the mirror exercise, when I first started them, I did them because I wanted to get that negative chatter out of the head. You know,
Yeah.
that constant, radio DJ that keeps talking about all that crappy stuff you don't want to hear.
Mhm.
I
I have that
wanted
too.
to shut him up. Yeah, I wanted to shut him up. And so I'd heard Jack Canfield had used the mirror exercises to shut him up. So I figured, okay, I'm willing to try that for 30 days just to see if I can shut him up. And for the first 20 days, nothing happened. The
Mhm.
DJ was just as loud as ever. But by day 25, he was at half volume. And by day 30, he had shut up. I mean, I could still sense him in the background going, but nothing was coming out.
Yeah.
And it really did work. And I was kind of blown away by, like, wow, not only did it work, you know what really caught my attention? I think I've told you this before.
Mm.
After 30 days, it was quiet.
Hmm.
It was just quiet. It was nice. Like I was going through my day and there was no chatter going on in my head. It was just quiet. Wow. Is this way a healthy mind is supposed to work? Just quiet? I like this. It's like the lead protagonist in the movie The Rocketeer after his first time with the rocket strapped to his back. He
Yeah.
comes to a stop and he takes his helmet off and he says, I like it.
That was a good movie.
And I know exactly what he means. Like, yeah, that felt great. I like that. That's
Yeah.
really good. Got that one
Mhm.
again. So yeah, get some daily processes going. At the very least, do your boogieing. That's a great one because you got exercise going, yeah, and you got the direct stimulation of endorphins and the serotonin and dopamine and all that kind of thing. Because
Mhm.
that's what it does. Dance is wonderful for that. So get that going, but don't just stop there. Is what I'm saying. Do that every day and maybe find one other activity, one
Mhm.
other positive activity to do every day, and just keep doing them every single day
Mhm.
and see what happens. Don't make
Yeah.
keep it like a calendar. Okay, you're starting on April 1st or today's date, March 27th, and see what happens by April 27th.
Mhm. Okay.
You know, Good idea.
All right.
And report back to us, and we'll do another show on anxiety.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, that sounds good. Hey, before we go, I want to remind everybody, we got a couple minutes left. If you're not yet a subscriber to the podcast, please become one. You never know what kind of fabulous advice you're going to get with each and every episode that we put out. So just go
Mhm.
to the homepage, loatoday.net, and we set it up now so that it detects what kind of device you have, shows you the click here icon for that device. You click it, it walks you through the process step by step, and when you're all done, you're a subscriber. Congratulations. And then, of course, make sure that you're sharing on social media the fact that you are subscribing, that you're enjoying it so that other people can find out about their daily doses of happy as well. So let's see. Okay, we got about 5 minutes left. You were relating to me and to I think to Bill yesterday that you're so depressed because your favorite show, Supernatural, they announced that.
Oh, why did you have to open the wound?
Well, because I wanted to ask you about what's going on with your podcast because you do a podcast. Let's see. Do I remember what the title is? Spoiler
And
alert.
he, yes, yes, that's it.
Spoiler alert. So have you done your spoiler alert on Supernatural, or is that something that's still too painful to look at?
I did do a rest in peace Team Free Will episode. I'm also inviting people from different TV show groups on Facebook that I'm in to join me as guest hosts for an episode or two, so I put that out
Cool.
there. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the creative idea I came up with um after I got that good night of sleep. So I'm gonna thank Bill for
Yes.
that.
Excellent. Okay. That's good. Good stuff. All right.
hmm
Any responses yet?
Yes, I have one person who wants
There
to
you
come on
go.
and talk about Supernatural, especially, with the impending doom of our show. So
Oh,
yeah. So they were like, yeah, but I'm going to Supernatural Con in Vegas this weekend, but I'll be back on Wednesday and I'll be happy to do it then. And I'm like, okay, that sounds fine.
very good. Hey, you're
hmm
on your way. You're going to be
Yeah.
doing your own you're going to have your own crew of co-hosts like I do. That's going to be good.
Do all that, but I'll have a couple, special episodes like this. This episode is just about Grey's Anatomy, or this episode's just about Supernatural.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, that works. Hey, I was only doing this podcast once a week and I had one co-host for like 4 or 5 years. So,
Yeah,
you just go at the pace that makes sense.
exactly. But co-hosts do make the show better, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, it's a whole lot fun. Whole lot funner? Yeah, whole lot funner. That's what it
A
is.
lot more fun.
There it is. And remind people how they can find out about Spoiler Alert too. Where do
Spoiler
they?
alert, you can find me on Google Podcasts, you can find me on Anchor.fm, or you can also find me on Spotify.
There we go. All right. Got it nailed. Good stuff. Well, thank you for bringing up the topic. Thank you to our live streamers, especially Shelly. Shelly, you should have dropped onto the show. Heard some of your insights. You're pretty good at diagnosing this kind of stuff. But that's not the next time that you're on. That's no big deal. Um, Now, there's one other note I should bring up. You and I are still working on the script for the podcast,
Yes.
the fiction podcast that we're creating. The grass is
Yeah.
greener,
hmm
and we kind of mutually decided that's not something we want to do right now as part of these podcasts, just because we just have to write some script.
Right.
And the reason I'm mentioning this, but we're hoping to get the script done if we're lucky this week. That would be really
Yep.
great. Or at least
Yep.
have a first draft done, and then I'll run it by my sister, and we'll have other people look at it and so forth.
Yeah.
But that means that let's assume, for the sake of discussion, that we have a script for a first episode ready in 10 days or something like that.
Yep.
That means we're going to be at the point where we need to start doing some casting. So
Yes.
I'm mentioning this just in case any of our listeners have thought to themselves, I would always like to do that.
hmm
Start reaching out to us. I mean, we'll do a formal cattle call, as they call it. We'll do a
Right.
formal casting call to invite people to become members of the cast that we're going to put together. But I figured, why not put the seed into the subconscious minds of our listeners?
There you go.
Because there might be a budding Nance or a budding Lana or a Miguel or an MJ out there just waiting to be discovered.
Yep.
You never know.
We're out here looking for you.
We are indeed. We are indeed. And you also indicated to me you're still interested in perhaps being like the coach or the therapist or something like that in the show.
Yeah, something like that. One of those. I'll take one of those.
Okay. Well, you've got plenty of experience with anxiety and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like you don't have the experience to be able to play that
Facts.
kind of a role. All you have to do is just kind of channel your last psychiatrist or something.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. So thank you to you. Thank you to our live stream audience. This afternoon it'll be Cindy Chavez and I. It's Neville Day, so we're going to be talking about Neville Goddard, and we're currently on chapter 14, I think it is, of Your Faith is Your Fortune, so you don't want to miss that. Thank you to our podcast audience as well, and we will see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.